World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, magandang hapon ho. It's summer 2021. Happy Tuesday. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN. Kapiling po ninyo dito po sa ating programang Legal Advice Corner. And if you want to learn about the law dito sa United Kingdom, kung meron kayong mga problema, ito ho ang palatuntunan na dapat ho ninyong mapanood, no? So tell your friends about it. Share this sa inyong mga kaibigan. Kung hindi pa ho nila alam, no? Mas mabuti ho. Mas marami hong nakakaalam dito po sa ating palatuntunan. It's summer. Mainit ho. I'm feeling warm. Namumula-mula na ako dahil sa init ho, no? And in fact, there are stories of heat waves, no? Talagang mainit ho rito sa United Kingdom. Lalo na kung meron kayong cardiopulmonary problems ho, ayan ho, no? Pero dito ho, just for the benefit, not really benefit, for people to know, hindi ho uso rito ang aircon sa United Kingdom sa amin, no? Wala ho ang mga bahay, hindi ho talaga ginawa o tinayo para may aircon. Natural lang ho yun. Kung mag-aircon ka, talagang magpapakabit ka, no? But generally, maski ho yung mga 4-star, wala na siguro 5-star, mga 4-star hotels, talagang mainit ho, no? Ako'y nakaranas sa Birmingham, wherever I would go, even in Manchester, mainit ho. But it's good, no? We're not complaining. I'm not complaining. Napakaganda ho ng panahon. Maaraw, mainit, no? And sunny, mas mabuti kaysa, di ba, pagka umuulan. So, yeah, syempre, Legal Advice Corner will not be Legal Advice Corner without the expert, no? The heart and soul of this program, who's been with us since a part of our social family virtual bubble ever since last year, no? Mga kaibigan, ang pinakamamahal natin, mahal nyo, mahal ko, mahal ho nating lahat, ang ating abogada, ang managing partner ho ng DV Solicitors or Deo Volento Solicitors, walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA Quinto. Attorney, magandang hapon. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Mr. Laragan. Happy Tuesday to everyone, sa mga Pilipino dito sa UK, sa Europe, at sa lahat ng sulok ng buong mundo. Magandang gabi kahit meron pa rin pong araw ngayon. It's 29 degrees Celsius here in the UK, a proper summer evening, ika nga natin dito. At before I forget it, and before everything else, Eid Mubarak sa mga Muslim brothers and sisters natin. I think they call it the Big Eid. Some of them are celebrating today. Some of them, including our guest co-host, don't forget to greet him. Eid Mubarak, he's celebrating tomorrow. But yes, very, very exciting. Exciting times ahead. Kasi sabi nila, papunta na daw tayo dun sa pag-release ng mga restrictions. And yesterday was supposedly one of those days na dahan-dahan na completely na bang nurse. I'm not quite sure kung ano yung mga kung ano actually yung wording. I think they say discretionary na lang yung mask except for some areas, but I don't know what your thoughts are about that, Mr. Laragan, but mahal na mahal ko rin po kayo before I forget. Thank you, nakakatawa na po.
Mahal ka namin talaga. Everybody loves you, no? But going back to your asking, ako namumula ko. Dahil ano dito, heat wave. Wait, 29 degrees. You mentioned 29 degrees, di ba? Napakainit yan. Mainit yan, no? Dito sa UK, parang... Yes, pero tayo, we're not used to it. Generally kasi yung ating weather natin dito, medyo mild dito, no? Hindi kamukha na sa Pilipinas. Kaya pagka gantong medyo, me personally, what I experienced during this time, kinakapos ako ng hininga. Parang very thin ang air sa akin. Hirap ako huminga. parang I'm having difficulty with my breathing kapag ganitong panahon.
Ingat,
Yeah, I don't
ingat
know with
po.
you, no? Oo.
Mas ano ko, mas masaya ako pag mainit.
Ah,
The
really?
more na mas mainit, mas natutuwa ako. Laking init
Ah,
talaga ako eh.
okay.
Pero
Baliktad naman
ito,
ako.
may ano
Go
ko,
ahead.
may funny anecdote ako. Sabi ni Mr. Laragan sa introduction niya, hindi uso ang aircon dito at puro kami heater. So when I first came to the UK, as in nung unang araw ko sa UK, so nakita sa akin, ito yung room mo. Tapos tinignan ko, may parang square na puti. Sabi ko, aircon ba yan? Ano yung
Oo.
tinanong ko? Natawa yung nagpakita sa akin. Sabi niya, hindi, hindi mo kailangan ng aircon dito. Heater yan, heater. So, yeah, that's,
Oh, yeah.
that was a very, very, slightly embarrassing situation na hindi pala talaga uso ang heater. At yung radiator pala yon, Mr. Laragan.
Ah,
Akala ko
radiator. Yeah,
aircon.
radiator. Mm.
Akala ko aircon yung radiator nung unang paglapag ko ng UK. So, hindi po siya aircon. At
Yan,
hindi po kami sanay dito. There's always just a
Yes.
couple of days of extreme heat every year. So, some buildings, we're blessed here. We have a main air conditioning unit sa floor, but hindi umaabot sa room ko for some reason. Hindi ko
Oh, really? Ah, really?
pinakamainit dito sa room ko. But ay ingat tayo lahat, inom ng maraming tubig kasi madaming pwedeng ma-heat stroke, ano? Pwede kang mag-alta presyon pag sobrang init. Kaya
Yes.
ingat-ingat
Yes.
tayo sa mga ka-remote social bubble natin. Ingat
Yes,
tayo.
yes.
Inom
Tama yan.
tayo ng tubig.
Mabanggit ko lang, if I just can mention, no? Yung mga, kasi I go around, lalo na years before when I would be emceeing in different parts of the UK. I would go everywhere, no? Pero ano mo, magugulat ako, mga 4-star hotels na were billeted in, walang aircon.
Yeah.
So bukas na bukas ang bintana. Yeah, walang aircon. Kaya yung mga business establishments kamukha ninyo,
Sure,
meron, may aircon yan. Pero
Restaurants sometimes, they would have
yeah,
aircon
may
sometimes in
aircon, no?
restaurants, yeah.
Pero hotels, I could mention, I forgot the names, but these are even big, huge names,
Big
and
hotels.
yet they haven't got any air conditioning sa kwarto, no? So pawis na pawis kayo sa loob ng kwarto, bukas ang mga bintana ninyo, no? So, ayan. Oo.
Sanay.
Today, siguro we'll just quickly introduce him lang siguro, pero he'll be back with us later on in the second part. Because a lot of you guys are buying properties, no? So we'll find out, something about property law, no? Alamin natin. We'll quickly introduce him so that he'll just say hello because during the first part, attorney, di ba? We greet some of our friends, no? And we have Chika. But siguro introduce him quickly and then we'll have him later on in the second part, no? So, attorney, who do we have? We have a special guest, mga kaibigan, for today. He's going to be with us. He's going to talk about the property law. He's an expert yata, no? Sa property law. No?
Absolutely.
Attorney, sige, pakilala muna quickly just to say hello to our guys first initially on the show.
Po.
Yep.
Mga kababayan, so dahil due to public demand, ang dami nagsasabi, ang dami ko naririnig na marami tayong kababayan bumibili ng properties, getting into the property ladder, o nagli-lease ng mga business premises nila. They're starting to rent or yung iba, sila mismo ang nagle-let out ng commercial premises nila. So nagdala ako ng colleague ngayon, a technical master, isang maestro sa technicalities ng property law, compliance king. Siya talaga yung talagang lakas ng attention sa details, and he's had so far 20 years of experience
Wow.
in practice, solid 20 years.
Oh.
He's been with Deo Valente for 16 years, I think, if not more. He will tell us about that. But just a very nice person, all in all, and also someone who's very, very enthusiastic about the law and about public service. Isa lang po siyang local politician. He will tell you more about that later. You can ask him about that. But yes,
Local politician, attorney? Local politician?
He's not in Bedford, but in Birmingham. He will tell you more about that later. You can ask him about
Okay,
that.
let's find out. Let's get to know the guy, because
We'll
that's
get
quite
to know him.
Interesting.
Shall we introduce him without?
Yeah, go ahead. Just for him to say hello initially.
Mr. Nasser Ali, welcome to Legal Advice Corner, and welcome to the Filipino community in the UK.
Yeah, good evening, Nasar. Hi, good
Guys,
evening. Welcome to the
thank you
show.
thank you, Mr. Larragan. Absolute pleasure to be here. I don't know who Dana was introducing there. I don't think it was myself.
They're just the only. You're the only one. So,
Such a humble person as well, may
right,
I
yeah.
add.
She's,
Talagang,
she's,
very,
she's,
very, very humble.
I promise you, I didn't write that for her, but thank you so much for that introduction. I don't think I'm worthy of that. Absolute pleasure to be here and join you guys.
well, the pleasure is ours actually. So, meeting you as well, an expert in the property law for the past 16 years with TV solicitors. And initially, did you start out? Well, Dana was saying that 20 years ago you start. Yeah, well, you've been in the property law. Is it property law 20 years or 20 years as a solicitor with property as your, like your how do you call this? Specialty. Yes.
Yeah, I've actually been with DV solicitors for 11 years. That's a slight
11,
correction. Yeah, 11 years. I qualified back in 2005. I've kept my age a secret, but I think it's just public now. But I have been practicing law since 2001 when I finished my postgrad up in Birmingham, the part of the world that I'm from.
Right. So, okay.
Yeah,
So
sorry
that's
about that, Nas. I always thought you've been here longer than, than now. But it
20
shows
years.
experience,
Yeah, 2001 when he qualified as a solicitor. So 2020 years. But with property, when did you decide finally to? I want to, there are different kinds of paths or pathways to take as a solicitor, as a lawyer. So when did you choose this property as your pathway?
To be honest, I actually wanted to be a pilot when I was young. Unfortunately, I realized at a teenage that I was scared of heights. So law was obviously something that my late father, encouraged me to participate in. I qualified in 2005, which is 16 years now, but I've been working in law for best part of 20 years. And initially, the firm that I qualified with, they specialized in property and immigration. So my early years, I did have self advocacy. I represented clients in immigration, tribunal, court hearings. But then the ever-changing face of the immigration world dictated that I needed to focus on property. That included residential, commercial, and I'm pleased to say, 16 years and counting. I'm still trying to do my utmost for my clients, my colleagues, and obviously the community that we live and try to serve.
Oh, fantastic! So let's getting this.
That's where the 16 years came from.
Yeah,
16
getting the
years
things straight now.
qualified, yeah.
So 2001, the one when you graduated from law, and then 2005 when you qualified, right? That's how it is. That's okay.
Right,
Facts.
yeah.
Okay, we just had our Filipino, viewers a glimpse of who this good-looking guy is. We're gonna get back to you. So you would also qualify as an actor, not only as a solicitor, okay, but you will also qualify with your, inherent good looks. I guess a lot of girls are swooning right now watching you. I don't want to ask some personal questions because they might not like the answer. If you will answer in the way they wanted, they like, then perhaps yeah. But I wouldn't dare go on that, because it might not be as pleasant, reply for the benefit of our female viewers. Okay, so thank you very much. We're going to get back to you. Mga kaibigan, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about your concerns about property. If you bought property, what are the pitfalls perhaps? What are the things that you have to be worried about? What, legally, what are the things that you need to do to comply with? No? Would that be a fair, more or less description? But anyway, we're going to have it from you later on. You're going to discuss it. So thanks a lot, Nasar. We're going to get back to you, no? Ayan. So, wow. Okay, so thank you. Thank you. Very brilliant. 2001.
Heavy duty ang
he
dinala
finished
natin
his
ngayon
law.
para sa mga kababayan natin. Very
Yeah,
special. Very special.
Yes, mga kaibigan ha, ito very special for tonight, no? Kung may mga tanong kayo, as early as now, siguro ipasok na ho ninyo. If you have any questions about, you're intending to buy a property, or hindi lang property personal, no? Not only residential, but if you probably have intent on buying also some commercial property, kasama ba
Or
yun?
lease.
Or lease.
Po. We call it
Or lease, you can also-
If you're buying
she can
a
also-
freehold or the leasehold, if you're buying a business, or if you're buying a lease of a business, that's very, very different here in the UK. It's much more involved process. Nasser's the expert po sa ganun. They call it commercial property. So, tune in, but kung hindi nyo mabibigay yung tanong nyo or may kakilala kayo na potentially needs advice, you can still contact us even after this. But very, very interesting topic tonight.
I remember, well, this is the first time that I've met Nasser. I remember we had somebody else talking about conveyancing. Who was it?
Rosie talked about conveyancing. Rosie Crouch, a trainee solicitor. Last year. Rosie talked about it last year, I think. Yeah.
Ayan, okay. O sige, well, at least kilala nyo na, mamaya ho, no? Gusto ko sanang tanungin kung single siya, baka hindi lang maganda ang sagot, baka bigla sabihin
maya. Pagalitan tayo ng asawa niya.
Gano'n ba? Ayun, nako, yun, that's the,
that's family guy.
That's the reply. Like, he's good looking, and so, there might be girls interested. When they see, oh, he's a good-looking guy, and then is he single? Normally, that's the regular, the normal query question. But I don't want to venture into that because he might say I'm married, and so that that disappoints a lot of people. Then. So at least we know now he's married, but just the same, yeah, okay, siyempre, no? But he's a good-looking guy. Okay, pabatiin lang natin yung mga attorney. Sino lang bumati sa atin last week? Sino unang-una naalala mo?
Oliver Fernandez, I think.
Oliver Fernandez. Okay.
I think hindi ako nagkakamali. Sino ba ngayon? Si Marian Galicia Panerba o si Oliver Hernandez, or do we have someone new?
No, we have actually, I don't know if we could call it a tie. No, because although may nauna between the two of them, because it comes up that
lang magkaroon ng favoritism mo. Pwede pa yung sabay lumabas.
Hindi, sabay kasi well, on the 4th minute, we were looking at the time that it came in. So 4 minutes after, biglang pumasok. So ayun. Oo, so pero ang una doon sa dalawa is of course, hulaan mo, attorney.
Sino ba ngayon? I think bumalik kay Marian Galicia Panero. Just a bit of an inkling. Mukhang bumalik sa UK ang nauna. Tama ba?
Tignan nga natin. Mukha yata. Yeah, attorney. Mukha yata. So, bumalik sa trono bumalik si Marian. Marian, congratulations again dahil ikaw ang consistent for the past many weeks. Pero na-dislodge siya, no? Last week ba?
Last week,
Oo, and some other, pati doon sa kay Attorney Lira, no? Okay, so Marian, mabuhay ka uli, ha? So, mahusay ka pa rin talaga. Ikaw pa rin ang, kumbaga, champion natin. Ano ba ano yung first, pag sumako, hindi. Valedictorian natin for today. Ayan.
Marian, send mo yung address mo kay Sir Sonny. I'm gonna send you a little something. A little thank you para sa
okay. Wow, that's quite a lot.
Kasi yung address mo kay Sir Sonny, ha? Huwag mo naman i-post, baka makita na.
Hindi kasi nga, tama, attorney.
Oo,
kasi 4 weeks siya consistent, di ba? Parang hindi lang hat-trick.
I think it's worth
4 weeks.
So, little thank you. Please, Marian, please send either send mo sa akin diretso kay Sir Sonny, whoever, private message mo para hindi naman masyado Ayan na ata, tinext na.
Okay. Oy, next natin. Sige. So, Marian, okay. So, thank you for being the first again, no? Ayan. Pakibasa, attorney.
Basahin ko ba? Good afternoon, Attorney Donna and Kuya Sonny, supporting your program from Orlando, Florida. Kaya dala pa rin tayo ni Oliver on a 10-day vacation at Disney World. Mahina po Wi-Fi signal when something.
Mahina po ang Wi-Fi signal where I am at, sabi niya.
Yeah.
Pero
salamat sa airport, Oliver. Maraming salamat.
Florida is on the right, hindi ako nagkakamali kung Florida talaga siya, is on the eastern side, no, of the US, and where he lives, yung
Sa kabila.
sa may west siya, sa may Pacific side, no?
True.
Doon sa may Seattle, sa Washington State, no? So enjoy your holiday, ha? Thanks also for taking the time out. Maaga pa ron. Anong oras? Hindi, 5 hours ang oras doon, no? Thank you. Ayan,
Salamat,
so, ayan.
maraming salamat.
Ayun.
Marian Galicia, I think kanina, but Kuya Sonny and Tony Danna sa lahat, happy Tuesday po. I'm watching from Cheltenham. Yes, Marian, as I've said, please send your complete address sa akin or kay Mr. Laragan so we can send you a little thank you. Yes, happy watching po at sa lahat ng kababayan sa 4 na sulok ng UK. Stay safe and God bless po. Di lang UK, Marian, sa lahat ng sulok ng mundo. Maraming salamat sa mga support natin. Kasi si Oliver nasa Florida eh. Nasa Disney World.
Itong susunod, attorney, hindi kapitbahay natin yan.
May bago tayo, Xavier Buseg. Hello everyone watching from Dublin, Ireland. Magandang gabi, Xavier. Welcome. Mukhang bagong
Xavier Busig. Mabuhay ka, Xavier, ha? Xavier Busig from Dublin, Ireland, no? Ayan. Now we go back to the Philippines. Ayan, attorney.
Ayan, si Princess Sacramento. Good evening, Attorney Donna and Sir Sonny. Happy Tuesday po. Watching from Philippines. Magandang umaga. Madaling araw, Princess. Maraming salamat sa
Maraming salamat, ha? Yeah, Princess, mabuhay ka, no? Ayan. Okay, so we go now to Belfast. Ayan, attorney.
Belfast, balik tayo dito sa Europe. Happy Hot Tuesday. It is hot. It is really hot, actually. Magandang Attorney Donna and guwapong Sir Sonny and all viewers. Stay safe, everyone. Yes, still stay safe. And from Belfast, Rudy, good evening.
Good evening, yeah. Good evening, Rudy.
There
No?
as well.
Belfast, good evening, no? Ayan.
Ayan, meron
yes.
ng bago. Blessed day and night, Sir Sonny, Attorney Donna, and to everyone who are watching. God bless Philippines indeed. God bless UK. Ayun, from Jennifer Guevara Bukadker. Jennifer, thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Parang bago ata si Jennifer.
And then si Jennifer has been there. Ang alam ko nandiyan si Jennifer Bukad. I think she's based here in the UK, no? Because I remember her winning during when we have our Sabado Panalo. She won yata a prize, no? For the family back home. Yes. So Rudy, mabuhay, no?
Rudy, happy Tuesday, and to our special guest, Sir Nasser Ali and Rudy's from Belfast. Yes, thank you so much for welcoming our special guest, Rudy. Maraming salamat.
Okay, Emmeline Rafael.
It's Mom, Emmeline Rafael. Oh, good evening, Sonny and Attorney Donna. Happy Tuesday to you both and everyone. Back to usual na si Ma'am Emmeline Rafael, naka-all caps ulit tayo. Mahal ulit tayo ni Ma'am Emmeline Rafael. Kasi dati, small letters eh. Akala ko galit sa atin kasi small letters.
I know.
Ngayon, ulit.
She's back to her usual self. Normal pa rin. She's normal. Dahil all caps, no? Oy! Our very good friend. Yeah. The heart and soul of DV Solicitor, the founder. Yeah, founding partner.
Happy Tuesday, Mr.
Kamar.
Rahman, and Eid Mubarak. Eid Mubarak din nasa Pakistan si Mr. Rahman.
Oh, really now? Okay. Wow.
So Eid Mubarak, Mr. Rahman. And
Hi, Kamar, no? Eid Mubarak, ha? Keep safe and well, ha? We had an Eid recently. So how many Eids do we have? Only one or two? Or ano bang yan? No?
Si Nasser siguro yung tanongin mo.
Huh? Nasser, sige, let's Nasser, because you had a whole month. You had a whole month of fasting, and how did you call it? Eid?
Eid din yung end nun. Eid din. Ramadan muna yung fasting.
Ramadan. Okay.
And then yung end po nun is Eid. This is another Eid, but you have to ask Nasser siguro.
We'll ask him. What is this Eid? Because I remember you had an Eid the last time out, right? It was towards the end of the fasting that you had, no? Tama ba?
Correct.
Is it correct? Yeah, okay.
Tama po.
All right. Emily Rafael says, good evening, and a happy hot day. Everyone, and stay safe. Ayun. And ito, basahin mo ito, attorney. Yes. Sino yan? Si Farah Bernice.
Good evening, Attorney Donna and Sir Sonny. Good evening, Seth. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. Si Marian would like to thank you and papasalamat si Seth because you promised something, no?
Thank you. Yeah, no worries. The pleasure is ours,
Sige,
Marian.
okay.
Maraming salamat. And thank you for supporting us, Marian.
Yes. So, Marian.
Ayan,
Rudy
kahapon
Lebroho.
po pala. Si Rudy, thank you daw po from Mia sa pag-congrats mo po sa kanya about her original songs aired in BBC Radio Ulster. I think lahat tayo nag-congrats kay Mia. I hope I did. I think I did.
Yeah, congratulations, Mia. No, it aired.
Congratulations, Mia.
BBC
Everyone,
Radio Ulster. She's gonna go a long way. Ayan.
Talented young
Okay.
lady.
Very talented si Mia. Very, very talented. No?
Very,
Okay.
very talented. Yes.
Attorney, we're gonna have a short break, and when we come back, siguro, well, we're gonna be having Nasar, no? And he's gonna be talking about the property and everything, no? So, abang ho kayo mga kaibigan, dyan lang ho kayo, no? Panoorin ho natin to at baka sakaling may matutunan ho kayo at kung hindi man sa inyo, ay maibigay ninyo doon sa ating mga kababayan ho, no? Na, lalo na ngayon, usong-uso nagbibilihan. I don't know if you know this, attorney, pero ano daw, the properties have increased, no? Even if it's the pandemic, because people have this, I don't know, furlough money, and then they started buying properties. Plus, this helped to buy, you know? And there was this deadline of, what do you call that? Yung tax, how do you call
Help
that?
to buy scheme. Yes, I'm sure now.
No. It's the capital. Is it when you buy a property?
SDLT, stamp duty po.
Stamp duty.
Holiday.
Ayun.
Yeah, we talked about that
there was
last time as well.
there was a
Yeah.
holiday. Ang deadline ba na was June 30 or July?
June 30, correct. June 30.
June 30,
Tapos
okay.
may slight period na may konti pang discount and then babalik na naman siya sa kung ano dati. And 30th of September ata.
Alamin natin din
So-
sa mula kay Nasar, no? Kung ano pa ang mga ganyan, no? Kung meron may slight it ended June 30, this stamp
Yung
duty, and
malaking
then
discount and nag-end po ng
and then
June 30,
nag-end na. Okay. But this is for properties even that June 30 is even for properties beyond 300,000 pounds yata, no? But if you're buying a property still below 300,000 pounds, you don't pay a stamp duty, no?
There are certain parang mga categories per 100,000, 125,000. It's all fairly straightforward. May stamp duty calculator kung gusto niyo talagang
Ayun.
malaman. All you need
Sige.
to do is add yung details nyo online. Libre po yun. Automatic yung i-calculate at any certain point in time. Basta alam nyo yung completion date nyo. Kung alam nyo kung kailan matatapos yung transaction. But if you're just thinking, hypothetically or academically kung magkano, try it out as well. Kasi makikita mo kung ano yung pwedeng maging stamp duty land tax.
Okay, ayan. So we're gonna be having Nasar with us, and we're gonna ask him why is there another Eid? No, Eid. Is it Eid? Eid today. Okay. So wag ko kayong alis ha. Kami ho ay magbabalik pagkaraan ho ng itong ating patalastas. Saglit po lamang.
%100% all natural. Tasty. Healthy. Versatile. 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O, ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo. May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka AV ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho, O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mana, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS, harassment, o baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo. Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at 2nd floor, Howard House, St. John Street, Bedford, MK42 0DJ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
During these trying times, we salute the frontliners who are tirelessly caring for all of us against the COVID-19. To all the courageous nurses, doctors, carers, and paramedics at the NHS, words are not enough to thank you. We at Highlight Express International are here to support you back with a full semester 10% discount when you send your balikbayan boxes to your family in the Philippines. Dahil ang Highlight Express International ay para sa pamilya.
Okay, welcome back to our program, Illegal Advice Corner with Sonny LARAGAN dito po. At it's a warm, hot Tuesday evening ho, no? Ayan. At syempre, kasama pa rin natin, no? They say, no, pagka sa mga kumpanya, some of the visionaries in business, no, they get the best people, and that's the reason why their companies are thriving, or they're whatever their business concerns are. Dahil mahusay ho. And one of them, syempre, ito ating pinagmamalaki na managing partner, no, ng Deo Valente Solicitors, DV Solicitors, walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA Quinto, no? Ayan. Attorney, good evening once again to you, no?
Good evening. Nagtanggal na ako ng blazer kasi parang
okay. Oo nga.
Init na rin ako.
I know.
I tried. So, tanggal muna tayo ng blazer na yan. It's a really hot day, but we like summer days. So, nakakatawa na, may araw, we're here with, as you said, may dala akong special na nakatrabaho ngayon. So, I can share it with our community as well. So, pwede na natin siyang...
Yeah, you introduce him, no?
Dahil meron kang tanong na talagang gusto mo itanong sa kanya, bakit ilan ba ang age? 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yes. Let's ask him, no? How many EIDs? Ilan ba ang EIDs, no? Like I was saying, no, yung heart and soul ng mga of the companies are the people comprising it, and mga visionaries, they get the best people, even better than them. Sabi nga ng let's say for example nila Carnegie, nila Andrew Carnegie, I get people better than me, no? Ford, for example, the owner of Ford, who set it up. He gets the right people, no? And that's the reason why the company grew, no? Okay, sige. Why don't you introduce our once again, the attorney, and then we'll ask him how many EIDs do they have, no? Okay, go ahead, please.
May unang tanong na sa kanya. So yes, just to introduce once again, 20 years in legal practice, 16 years fully qualified as a solicitor, mostly in property law from the start of his career, commercial, residential property, complex property transactions. He's been at Deo Valente Solicitors for 11 years, and he's our current head of property department. At sabi ko nga, he's the technical maestro, the compliance king. And he's also very much into public service. Maaring pangalawang tanong sa kanya.
Yes.
Yan, mamaya, Mr. Lara, ask him about it. He's very passionate about it. So, at ang huling accolade, ika nga ni Mr. Laragan, very, very good looking. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
what a sight for sore eyes. So let's welcome
Yeah.
back Mr. Nasser Ali.
Nasser, good evening to you.
Ayan na, ayan
Nasser.
na.
Good evening. Good evening again, both. Thank you. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you.
Well, if there's such a thing as for women, for girls, beauty and brains, you have how good looks and brains, perhaps. No? That's
Yeah.
we don't normally say that. We say that to women, but yeah, beauty and brains now. It's good looks and
She's
yeah.
blushing now.
Yeah. Wait, good evening. So you are first of all, well, a couple of questions. You mentioned that you're into politics. I think in Birmingham. So, but before that, what is Eid? Could you explain to us? Because I remember Dana had this month-long feasting, and it culminated in an Eid.
Fasting rather than feasting.
Fasting, yes.
Fasting.
So how? So you Eid Mubarak or Mubarak?
Mubarak.
Yeah.
Eid
So
Mubarak.
how many Eids do you have? Because the last time I think it was
There's
another
two.
Eid.
That's right.
Two.
There's two festivals of Eid. The first one, I think, as you know, Dana took part in the 30-day period of fasting, and that's to commemorate the end of month of Ramadan. And the second Eid is just after Hajj. Hajj is obviously the religious pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia. So this is a 3-day event, and it personifies the sacrifice Prophet Abraham was prepared to take in the way of God. So it's a 3-day event. There's always, like life, there's always debates in terms of which day, and the Islamic calendar is based on the sighting of the moon. It's the lunar month, and then the preachings are you need to follow the land that you occupy. So we in the UK follow sightings in Morocco, the nearest country, as significant in the 1 month ending and the second we're starting. So there's 2 Eids in the year. The second one is called Eid al-Adha, Eid of Sacrifice, which is a 3-day event.
This second one, you say it's a celebration, 3-day celebration, but does it entail fasting as well?
You can, because the 10 days leading up to Eid al-Adha, which is basically the 10 days preceding us, is basically they're pious for worship. People are obviously attending to Hajj, but it's not mandatory. However, the 30 days before Eid al-Fitr, the small Eid, are mandatory for anyone who's able to keep. There are exceptions to the rule. If someone is ill, then they can compensate rather than putting themselves at risk. They can feed the poor as recompense, if you wish to call it that way. So the days before Eid, the big Eid, which is now, the fasting is not mandatory, but it's just piousness. So it is a 3-day, and I'll be celebrating tomorrow.
Right. Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Dana mentioned about you being in politics, I guess. I think. Is it like a counselor? Which party? What party is this? And how long have you been doing this?
The only thing I will say is the color of my shirt doesn't give my party away. At TV, I can actually wear blue, but as I said before, politics. No, sorry, Labour Party. I have to.
Labor.
I'm
Oh,
in the
right.
Labour
Okay,
Party.
Labor.
So don't be fooled by the color of my shirt. But I stand for the local Labour Party, and I've done a lot of work within the community through Labour lawyers as well. So it's an absolute honour and privilege if you can come and help people. So it's something that I'm interested in on a voluntary basis, and trying to help people. I think makes my day go round. In all honesty.
So how long have you been with the party, with the Labor Party? How long have you started this, this voluntary thing? How long have you been doing this?
Since 2000, when I was at law school, And one of the reasons why I was attracted to the Labour Party was, if you look at the history of the UK as a nation, we had the end of the Second World War, United Nations Convention on Human Rights, but that wasn't put into statute until 1998, a year after the Labour Party took office. And that was encompassed by the Human Rights Act. And I was actually studying law, fundamental human rights, right to fair representation, right to democracy, right to a fair trial. These were all policies which were under the convention, but not in the UK statute book. So that it was back in 2000 that I joined the party, and I'm still a member, contesting elections nationally, locally, and trying to do my little bit. So it's an absolute honour if we can, take time out to put back into the community that's given so much to us.
So you actually ran for office. You said nationally and locally. So you've ran for what? MP? You've ran for councillors? So which offices did you know?
Yes. Yes, I actually went for the parliamentary candidacy for the 2015 election. I was lucky to get to the last three and fell foul, but that was a very long, strenuous process. But since then, I've vice chair of Labour Lawyers, which does a lot of work with the shadow cabinet, including people like Sir Keir Starmer, Andy Burnham. But I do as much as I can locally, and I even contested the May elections for the Labour Party. I live in an area that has never had Labour representation locally, and with the team that we have in the area are absolutely amazing. If they're listening, then vote of thanks for all the hard work that they've done, because the candidate is a mere face of the campaign. The party, the people behind the person who's the candidate actually contest the election. So it's an absolute privilege, walking the streets, talking to people, listening to their problems, and trying to spread goodness in that way. So I've contested elections, but obviously that's one of my passions, and law is obviously another.
Well, like Abraham Lincoln, he's tried it many times, and eventually he made it as a president. Eventually, so this recent one that you've joined in, was it also for the parliamentary elections, for MP as well?
No,
this time
this was for the this was for the local elections, Mr. Arthur.
Local elections. Okay, all right. Well, fantastic. Wow. Well, someday we hope and pray you'll run in the next elections and you make it to Parliament, and that's going to be one of our bragging things. No, we can brag. Hey, we know Nassar is a very good friend of ours.
We'll bring him back here.
We'll bring him back here. Yes, and I hope it wouldn't be difficult to get you on the show. As soon as you become hopefully the MP for that particular part of Birmingham, which never had. Is that true? Never had a Labour winner or Labour MP. So it's still conservative, for the past many years?
So, sorry, where I stood locally, Sonny, is that's for the local elections. I mean, we have a fair few very good Labour Party MPs. Where I live, we have Valerie Vaz. The Birmingham is a central Labour Party hub, and that's because of the policies they advocate. And history will speak in evidence. We've had so much statute which is protecting employee rights in the workplace. Trade unions are active, trying to support vulnerable people. Then we've got disability discrimination laws which have come in. I mentioned the Human Rights Act earlier. The minimum wage was introduced by the Labour Party. So there's a huge amount of policies that we try and protect and advocate for the purpose of the most vulnerable in our society. So if you look at the manifestos of the parties, then I'm sure the Tory party will love to have an argument, perhaps for another show. But we do try and look at.
We're going to have a political advice corner.
Yeah, we're going to have that. We're going to have that. Okay. Oh, before we segue or go into you talking about property law or things about property, we're gonna make way for this greeting muna, attorney, no? Dana, si Marites Allen, yung ating kumare, is greeting us. Oh, bumabati siya. She's very successful, ano? Hopefully she might, hopefully, no, it might do some feng shui for a British billionaire yata, no? Parang ganon, ng mga bilyonaryo. Kaya that makes us proud of you, Mare, no? Ayan, si Marites Allen, yan. Pakibasa, attorney. Ikaw na magbasa bago natin ano.
Hello,
Yan.
Attorney Donna. Very good looking compadre, Sonny LARAGAN. Hello, Marites. Thanks for tuning in and hope everything is well. I saw photos of her and the family, beautiful family. So I hope you're enjoying your summer. And also, just so you know, we do this greetings, almost like a check-in, a roll call, a checking of attendance. Because we were sort of like a social bubble, a remote social bubble during the pandemic. So it's a way of keeping in touch with people in the community, making sure they're fine, giving them a bit of company during lockdown as well. And lots of viewers here have been friends with each other because of the show, which we're very, very pleased about, aren't we? So sometimes they would even greet each other using the show, and they found friendships because of this show, which we're very very pleased. We're very delighted. So welcome to the community, Nasser. We they're embracing you with their warmth and their kindness, and their Mr. Laragan is absolutely with your,
for example, like this. For example, this Attorney Dan, look at that. Though there's a greeting, and Nasser is acknowledged there. Look at that.
Yeah, Mom Cora Corsola says, hello, Sir Sonny, Attorney Donna, Mr. Nasser Ali, and all. Hi,
so you're there. You're all there.
She's a teacher, or was a teacher.
Yes, yes. From the school that I came from, no? From the grade school teacher. So, sige, pakilala natin. Now, sige, ikaw na magsabi ulit, no? Attorney,
yes, the floor is yours. Whatever it is that you want to talk about or inform the community about your, favorite or expertise in property law. Take it away.
Yes, thank you. I mean, absolutely overwhelmed by the social and the community spirit that I can see from these messages. I think Mr. Rahman is tapping in as well. I saw his comment. I wish everyone stays safe and well. We've gone through challenges in property law, and I think the last year and a half has been absolutely horrendous for all communities. And we've gone through, as Sonny was mentioning, the stamp duty deadline of the 30th of June. This was for properties value up to 500,000, which were given relief, holiday. In other words, that threshold has now dropped to 250,000, and it's been a very difficult year. It's been a very difficult a challenge, so to speak, and that this is not just now. It's been throughout the 20-odd years that I've had the pleasure and privilege of practicing law. Initially, we had a credit crunch back in 2008, 2009, and that was a very difficult period for a lot of people and a lot of businesses. Interest rates, for example, have been rock bottom since that period. That was then followed by the effort by government and a lot of the firms to walk away from paper-based work to computerized, email-based work. Emails were introduced, faxes were made redundant in a lot of the cases, and the market factors have then contributed to a lot of firms struggling in a lot of case scenarios leading up to the pandemic. So the law has gone through a lot of phases over the last 15 years, and I was discussing this with my colleague earlier, and pretty much you see the whole cycle. But what we can't lose in any part of the profession is hope that tomorrow will be better than today. And I think that's the message for life on a philosophical level as well. So there's been a lot of challenges. Managing client expectations is probably at the heart, because all lawyers, their fundamental job is to act in the best absolute interests of their clients. We are on the side of clients, and our job is to deliver for clients and their betterness. And at times, work flow with the different elements, we are put in situations that make our life that little bit harder. But that's where lawyers come in, that's where barristers come in, that's where litigation experts come in, to share that burden with the community, with the clients, and deliver the deliver for them. And nothing gives you more pleasure than at the end of the transaction when a client comes up to you and thanks you. Those words emphasize how you've done or how you've excelled in your job. It has come harder. There's a new generation of lawyers that are being produced, but the old school lawyers, I'm sure DANNA is one of them, but she's a lot younger than I am. But we were taught disciplines in a different way, and the fundamentals of law do not change. Absolutely not. We're here to help our peers, we're here to help our colleagues, and most importantly, we're here to help the people that matter most, the clients. And that's my vision and my dream, and something that motivates me every day of the week when I travel from Birmingham all the way down to Bedfordshire to meet lovely people and, to be part of this wonderful show as well.
All right. All right. Okay. So a lot of things you said has changed for the past 20 years of that you've been doing this as a solicitor and perhaps specializing in property. What are some of the highlights, the things that have changed? You opened up with saying that the threshold went down from 500 to 250 now, right? It was 500, I think, before. But yeah, you were mentioning about 20 years, no? You mentioned about the credit crunch in 2008, 2009. So what are some of the things property-wise that has changed? I mean, in your practice of law.
I mean, I think the move towards IT, everything being online, is probably the most significant. There was a day when we had to wait for the postman to arrive. We couldn't work until the post wasn't allocated to the files, and that took a few hours. So the morning was spent having a cup of tea. Whereas now, there's no such thing as a 9 till 5 job. I get emails at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I think that's the most significant change in law. The core principles haven't changed. I don't think the knowledge level of expertise, that the standards, the integrity of the profession are still there. But the method, the ways of working has changed. It's a lot faster in terms of acting on files. We have to respond to perhaps 5 to 10 emails on each file a day. Whereas in years gone by, you would write a letter and then wait a week and a half for a reply from the courts or the other representing solicitors. So the dynamics of law, the fundamental principles haven't changed, but the ways of working have. And that's added more pressure in terms of delivering that quality of service. And that's just a personal observation. I'm sure DANNA will disagree with me or agree with me. I don't know, but that is probably the one thing that stands out over a 15-year PQE period.
Oh, like you mentioned, the fax has been made redundant because nowadays emails, and they're quick, and like you said, it's like 24/7. People, it's no longer confined to the 9 to 5 or 9 to 4 times. People can send in emails anytime, any day. So yeah, a lot has changed. So you're now. Would you say you've got? Is it not really more work, or shall we say, is it a bit stressful, or does it stress you a bit, or no? Is it more challenges because it's quicker now, and unlike before, you could have tea, wait for the post to come, to come to you. But now, you draft a letter, you send it, and then probably a week or two you get a reply. But now it's instant because of the email. So has it? How are you more? Is it more putting you on your toes? Is it stressful, or is it it's a good challenge?
It's definitely a challenge. I don't know whether it's stressful. I wouldn't describe it as stressful, but it's definitely demanding. Stressful if you have apply the core principles, stick to your values, then you can discharge those duties for a file. But it's definitely more fast-paced, and that brings with it a greater degree of alertness. You can't be complacent on files. You have to be ready for absolutely everything. So that is a challenge, and I think as living souls, it's something that we should embrace every day of the week, because there's less fortunate people out there, different parts of the world. So we're lucky to be where we are, and it's just one's perception. But I wouldn't call it stress. I would more call it a blessing that you can, try and help people in that way, whether it's 5 emails or more or less. It's a moot point, in my opinion.
Okay, Nasser, you mentioned about I think I don't know exactly what the phrase or the word was. Like you work for the best interest of your client, right? Was that what you said?
That's right, yeah.
Something to that effect. For example, let's give an example. I have a friend who bought a property, for example, and the property eventually, when they were trying to close this, there was like a major work done on the property, say worth £5,000. When you say work for your client, are you going to be haggling for your client not to pay for that 5,000, or will the other one haggle for have it probably one half, or I don't know. I'm just thinking. For example, you're buying a property. Simple terms, 100,000 property, okay, and then there is an actually like an outstanding, say, how do you call it? Major works of £5,000. Now, your client, how would you work on your client now? Are you going to be haggling for, hey, we don't have to pay, you pay that, or reduce it from the purchase price, or I don't know, let's divide it between 2,500 less 2,500 from the purchase price. I don't know if you get what my drift is. As I'm just talking about working on your client's behalf or best interest, or haggling for your client's best, I don't know, benefit. In that example, how would you answer that?
Yeah, you have to remember two things. Solicitors act in accordance with their client instructions, but then clients expect solicitors to guide them in terms of what is better for their position. So solicitors are duty bound to act in the best interests of their client. So the example you gave, Sonny, where you have such an event where works have been revealed, good practices, you make that disclosure to the client and present them with the possibilities of, look, there's a pitfall on this property which will cost you as a owner of the property. So how do we deal with it? We would then probably, if there was estate agents involved, encourage them to take that point back to the estate agents and ask if the fees or the sale price can be reduced and concessions are made. So ultimately, it will be up to the client to decide if they are happy with that course of action. But at the very least, we would have to disclose that to them so they have full information before, and they can make an informed decision. I'll give you another example. I'm acting on a property for a purchase for $250,000, and we've conducted a environmental search. Now that's revealed radon. The property is in a radon affected area. Now, for a lot of the viewers will be aware of this, but radon is a radioactive gas which could ultimately cause lung cancer and serious complications for individual health, especially with vulnerabilities, breathing problems, etc. So as a good solicitor, we would have to go back, and I say this to my colleagues all the time: do not be afraid to tell your clients, don't proceed on a purchase of a property. You'd rather lose 2,000 in fees and searches and valuation than buy a property which ultimately will be detrimental to you as owners. So it's every single day brings new challenges. Radon might come up, coal mining might come up in residential property, and you've seen with the climate issues and climate emergency, how many properties are now suffering flood. And some of the searches we do actually talk about flooding, the level of risk that's involved, and the cleanup operation, the consequences of building insurance are huge. In some cases, render the properties not fit for resale because no one will want to buy a property that's flooded, and consequences that give. So it's a ever-changing world, but the principles remain. We have to exercise due diligence on absolutely everything.
Okay, well, we have to salute you, guys. If I may translate it in our language, you guys, well, hindi pera, no? You guys will make money perhaps with the 2,000 for the fees and the searches and everything. But if you deem you've been telling your colleagues that if it will not be good for your client, then you should be brave enough to tell them, don't buy this, because eventually in future they might get probably a lot of whole host of diseases like probably cancer or anything because of the gas and everything, and even probably, I don't know, radiation in some instances if you have some properties like that, no? So itong sinasar, mga kaibigan, pinapaliwanag lang yan na hindi sila natatakot na sabihan yung kliyente nila if bumibili kayo ng property, namimili kayo ng property, kung may something na masama, if there's something bad in the property, they will tell you, wag mong bilhin to, don't go ahead with the purchase, even if it means yung fees mawawala, no, pero o mababawasan, pero you're at the heart of you guys, the benefit, the how do you call it, the welfare of your clients is first and foremost, no? So that's good, very good, Nasar, no? So that's a prime example. So if you feel it doesn't come up, for example, floods. One of my fears is that, say I wanna probably, if you go up north, it's a bit cheaper than the south, right? London, it would be impossible. You're priced out. So I could probably go to Telford, go north, go to Coventry, go to Warwickshire or something like that, and be able to buy a property a bit lower than the London. So I mean, how do I know if it's flooded? Does it come up? That's my fear. Especially sometimes you would be buying even old or new properties. How do you know if it's flooded? Or it was flooded before? Does it come up? How? So our viewers, it's coming from a naive person who would like, I want to have a property someday, and then they start looking for a property. But would that property come out? I don't know. In what form would it come out and say that it was a flooded property before? Is there a way for people when they want to search out properties?
Yes, definitely. The first point of information is in the property information forms. There's a direct question which the sellers have to complete, which talks about flooding. That would talk about the previous occupancy. Then, as buyers solicitors, we would carry out an official environmental search, and that one of the things that picks up is land contamination, as well as flooding, as well as radon, and even other significant matters like telephone masts and infrastructure, electric pylons, because these are all issues which were not prevalent 20 years ago, whereas now people want to know with what the whole dynamics of the area, the demographics of the area. And one other point of information, where there's been times that our firm has waived the legal fee side. The 2,000 I quoted, Sonny, that would have included the searches that clients have to pay, the valuation report that's been done. So that's not just legal fees, but if we have to invest in people and do a service to people, and if that means waiving a £500, £300 legal bill, and for the right reasons, then our management have done that in the past as well. So the 2000, I have to say that for completeness. So if you're buying a property up north, we would be carrying out a complete background check about the property. Flooding is a big issue in Bedfordshire, in Gloucestershire. You've seen certain environmental incidents where flooding has happened, especially where our office is. We've got the Great River Ouse and properties having been built on floodplains. The governments are putting in measures, flood defences, for protection of the public as well. Whereas in the Midlands, you mentioned Telford, Wolverhampton, you've got places like Dudley. These are, there's coal mining issues, and they bring a different type of disadvantage, different type of risk. You have coal mining risks, you have mine shafts and adits. If you buy certain properties in Cheshire, for example, you've got Cheshire brine, so different parts of the world might have clay where there's been infill. So come to a good firm of solicitors, obviously, like we do that and make sure that we've done a complete x-ray of that property and report it to the client so they can make an informed decision. So there's a lot of factors we will look into, and then at the end of the transaction, the clients are absolutely in full picture and they make the right decision for them.
Okay. Well, okay. Right. We have a question here for you, Nasar. This is coming from Marites Allen. No? Okay, let's have a look at this. It doesn't come up completely, but we'll read the rest. I'm going to be reading the rest. Attorney Danna, can you read the first part and I'll continue on? Oh, just a moment, Attorney. Just a moment. We lost your audio. Okay, go ahead, please.
Thank you for the greetings, Attorney Donna and Parang Sonny. Very interesting topic indeed. Hello to Nasser as well. I have a question for him.
I am currently representing a family member to purchase a property in central London in the region of GBP 3 million to GBP from between 3 to 4 million. Okay, what services can you, Nasar, do for me? I understand the taxes is lower for a local resident as opposed to international investor. Is he also able to arrange for an escrow for the incoming remittance of funds? Thank you. Did you get the question? Would you like us to read it again?
Would you be kind to just read the question again for me, please?
Okay, right. So here it is. I am currently representing a family. So this is Marites, okay, who messages. It's because it's a very long message. We couldn't put it all in. Okay, so it starts with that. What you see. Thank you for greetings. Okay, but what's not on it is this. I am currently representing a family member to purchase a property in central London in the region of 3 to 4 million pounds. What services can you, Nasar, do for me? That's what she says. She asks. I understand the taxes is lower for a local resident as opposed to an international investor. Are you also, so is he, okay. She says, is he, but are you also able, or is he able to arrange for an escrow for the incoming remittance of funds? Thank you.
Sonny, I mean, obviously, before we can give complete advice, our website email is available. So I invite this particular viewer to write in so we can assess the full circumstances of this particular case.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I think that would be prudent.
That would be, yes. That would be, yes, you're right.
There's 2 points that I can pick up on. The last part of the question doesn't really make sense until further clarification. But yes, they are right. The HMRC recently introduced a surcharge on non-residents, which is 2% above the normal rate that UK residents pay. I mean, this was one of the ways I'm guessing the Chancellor was able to recover additional monies. But each stamp duty liability is based on individual circumstances. So it's not a formal comment as such, but there is an additional surcharge for non-residents. So the viewer's question is right on that particular point. The purchase itself, again, it's difficult to answer what services we can give, because most properties in London are leasehold. So the question we would have to ask is this a freehold property that's being purchased as opposed to a leasehold? And the elements then would need to be investigated in full. So I wasn't aware, I'm not able to understand the last part about the escrow. So if the viewer would like to drop us an email, we're more than happy to follow this up for you after the program.
Yes, normally you couldn't, in any legal program, you cannot really fully, answer the question. It has to be in a generic way, because these have to be really, there are a lot of particulars for cases, and each case is different from the other. So yeah, so you just gave a generic answer, but for the specifics, I think it's best for her to get in touch with you. Right? That's tama ba yan, Dana? No? Is that correct, Attorney Dana?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
I think
Mare, yeah.
Marit has raised a few points that may, I think Marit has used a usual Filipino term, escrow, but in order for us to understand fully what your requirements are, Marit, please email us. You can email me, you can email Nasser directly as well. You have my email. By all means, I think a tailored advice, a much more comprehensive roadmap to what we can offer. You'll benefit more from that than a generic one. But thank you for raising such an interesting question. I think it's good to have that answer at the very least with regards to the tax. There may surcharge for others. There's an extra surcharge for foreign purchasers. So at least that's one out of the way, and then the rest of it we can answer as soon as you send us the further details.
So there's a 2% surcharge, and this was one way also for the government to more or less get some funding, get some funds, to be able to run the government. Is that what you're saying, Nassar, earlier?
As a Labour Party hat on, yes, I think it's discriminatory, but this is something that they've introduced. So it's only recently been introduced since the pandemic. So it's not something that I agree on. I don't think we should be encouraging foreign investment, subject to the usual checks and protocols, of course. But there is a charge, 2% on the base rate that UK residents pay. So it's not something that I agree on or comment further, really.
Okay, all right. So yeah,
well,
I understand.
I've got a question for Nasser. I've always wanted to ask it, because lots of Filipinos are first-time buyers, Nasser. So, what practical advice, would you be able to give? You talked about generic, but practical advice would you give to first-time buyers? Things to look out for. We don't need to go into details, but generic advice that they could take away from this program. So lots of Filipinos here are looking to get into the property ladder.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best thing that I can possibly say is buying a house will be the best and the most important investment of your life. It's something that will become your home, and you would wish to undertake every single check and inspection before you commit the point of exchange of contracts. Always ask the questions, and don't be fearful asking too many questions. Ask your solicitors to look into a full set of searches. Do not sacrifice a couple of £100 or £1,000 when you're buying a property in different, depending on the part of the world, for a couple of £100,000. So the best advice I can give is question absolutely everything and believe nothing until you're absolutely satisfied. Ask the questions of your solicitors. That's what we're here for, to make that process of buying that house that you're going to spend potentially the rest of your life with.
Yeah, yes, you're right. It's a big decision. And
Very,
if you
very
made the wrong decision, you're going to live with it for the next 10, 20 years of your life. So making sure the first time out, if you want to skimp on probably a few hundred or £1,000, don't do it, no? Because make the property, make all the searches, ask all the questions to the point that you got to be irritating to the buyer. Remember, these guys would like to sell their properties, so do as much. Anyway, they won't charge you anything if you get to be like a pest, asking all the all the questions, right? Is that correct, Nasar? And then go away if you don't want the property. If they're not good enough to to answer all your queries, then probably walk away unless you really fall in love or fell in love with the property. Is that the right way of saying it? I'm wrong. I'm not an expert.
What Nasser is saying is correct me, Nasser, but we talk about this. We talk about the due diligence, making sure that the client is fully informed of one of the biggest decisions, investment decisions in their adult lives. Don't skimp on it. We buy how much cell phones are worth, what, £700 these days? We buy those and we live with those for what, 2 years? This is a house that you're going to be living for a very, very long time, if not most of your lives. And it's worth, at least in the UK, £250,000 up and above. This is a worthwhile investment. With a worthwhile investment sa due diligence niyo sa property, not just with lawyers, but your time and effort in understanding as well what you're buying. Yes, fall in love with the property by all means, but equally understand the property that you are buying, understand the obligations that you are taking on board. Because from a litigation point of view, if it becomes a problem later on, then you'll be stuck with it for a very long time until you've solved that problem.
These first-time buyers are sort of innocent. So, yeah, there's due diligence. But do you prompt them? Are you the guy, well, as a lawyer, it's like, because these are my clients, I take the initiative, do everything, that I can find out and, and squeeze out of the other, other party for the benefit of my client. Because they might be innocent. They might not be asking the right questions. But do you, for example, Nassar, as a lawyer, do you prompt them? Do you, let's ask this, when you meet them, okay, thank you, we're meeting today. These are the things I'm trying to go after or check with the other side. Do you do that? Because, like I said, they might be innocent first-time buyers, wet in the ears, well, just like anybody who's first time,
Absolutely, Sonny. It's fundamental to your daily job because people are relying on your professional judgment, and it's why they've instructed you to deliver a service. So that's the basis of the contract. But I think what distinguishes a good lawyer, because the regulators expect a standard in the UK. Obviously, we're regulated by the Law Society and the SRA, so there's a code of conduct we have to follow. But we would wish to go above and beyond what's expected, and asking these questions so that they're answered allows the client to make that informed decision. And they will, as I said before in the introduction, the best feeling to the job is when someone comes up to you and says thank you at the end, and they've released the keys. That's the happiest day of their life, probably apart from marriage and having children, probably. But this is it's not a transaction, it's not a house, it's people's homes where people will be living, making memories, and spending the rest of their life. So solicitors, and this hasn't changed in 15 years of working, or 11 years with DB. We have a lot of repeat clients, and the ethos has always been do what's best for the clients. If it means there's a big problem with the property, there's a structural issue, do not buy it, then tell them. And if it means, yes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, then allow them to complete. So the ethos will always be to act in our client's best interest. And if that means asking 1,000,001 questions, rest assured we will.
Wow, that's nice, guys. Hearing it from Nasar, who's the head of the property department. No? I've got a personal message here. LV says, ang ganda ng question ni attorney. That was a lovely question from attorney. That's translating.
Thank you.
Translating. Okay. Oy, Marites says, there's she says, super thanks. Yes, we'll be in touch with Nasar and attorney Dana. Thank you. I am currently choosing between a leasehold and freehold flats. Ayun. Wow. Hopefully, yeah, Mare, these are very good lawyers. And Dana is the head of it, managing partner. No, so you're in good hands. And Sinasar here is a politician, a very nice politician. He's been doing this like voluntary work, charity, and everything. With service to his constituencies or friends or people from the village or the community. That's first and foremost. He would like to serve the community, and that's why he put himself up for the election, because he wanted to lead, serve. Not only content with doing the things that he does, but he can do it more in an elected capacity. So that's great, and I hope we have in future what do you call this? An MP friend in the person of you, in you, Nasar, So Nasar, hopefully, she's choosing between a leasehold and a freehold. But for me, if you were to ask me, I think it's best to buy a freehold, right? So you wouldn't have any problems anymore, because you only have to buy this. Is that acorn? I don't know. You buy it for 100 years, top it up every time, and then you pay for probably how do you call this? When you're in a block of flats, then you have to pay for. But anyway, it's my kumares. It's my kumares money. It's just that But freehold is a lot better, right? In a way. Or is it now? You cannot say definitely. We say yeah, freehold is best. Don't buy a flat hold. A leasehold. Is there?
It's individual preference, Sonny. As I said in my answer to the last question, £3 to £4 million is an awful lot of money. London is predominantly. There's a lot of areas where we simply have a lot of leasehold properties, but be very careful in looking at the terms. There's legal protections in place in terms of what ground rent and service charge cannot exceed. Some leases fall foul of that provision. So there's no freehold might be better for some people, leasehold might be better for other people. But what is important is the core principles of investigating the titles in full, and that's where the lawyers come in. So when you're spending £3 to £4 million, clearly you wish to look at every single aspect of the file, and if the viewer, when they get in touch, we can go through the elements of the transaction and then form an individual advice, so that they're in the best position to make that decision whether to go for a freehold or leasehold.
What stood out from what you said was, investigating the title in full. So you really have to do everything to check on it and to investigate it. So, wow, maraming salamat sa'yo. Maraming salamat. Oh, many thanks to you. I'm talking in my language now, Nasar. So thank you. Okay, is there anything more you'd like to add before we probably let you go, or before we, because it's been a very fruitful night for us with you, especially, encouraging people, when they have to buy a property, due diligence, be not really be ask all the questions. If you have to ask all the questions, do it, to the point of, not really point of irritation, but just ask and ask questions, because it's going to be the home that you're going to be in for the next so many years. Buying a car is, well, it might be long term, but probably 5 years, if we're talking amortization, but mobile phones, but houses, homes, these are many decades of being there. 25 years of amortizations, 20 years, it depends, 30 years, no? So yeah, it's a big decision. So make it right, because it's gonna be there's never gonna be a second chance anymore. You do it right, you do it the first time, right? I think that's how you do it. So, is there anything you'd like to add? Maybe you want to have some shout outs. You might have asked your wife to watch us, and you might have a row with her. Want to make it up with her tonight. So this affords you the chance to do so. Is there anything you'd like to add? Some friends you want to greet, or you might have along the way you remembered? Oh, Sonny, I forgot to mention this. To add on to my discussion for tonight. Go ahead, please.
Look, we're here to try and help. I don't have any personal messages to give, so thanks on that particular note. But look, our contact details are here. DANNA's doing amazing work for the Filipino community, and an absolute privilege. When I was asked to come on this week, I accepted within a second, and we're here for everyone, and our contact details are readily available. Please feel free to contact us. And as I said, if you need any one-to-one advice, we're happy to listen and try and help. Lastly, thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it as well. So thanks a lot.
Well, not at all. We want to thank you. We want to thank you, and hopefully in future we can have you again. Because buying a property, there will always be first-time buyers. There will always be people who would have concerns with properties. So yes, thank you very much, and we'll have you again. And let me just show you guys where the website is. If you want to just Google it, or put it in DV Solicitors. So. Let me just okay. Yeah. So here it is. You can that's it, right? Deo Volente, the best law firm in the UK. Yay! Okay. Yeah. So they have everything. They've got properties. They've got lahat, no? Pwede yan. So kami na ni attorney mag-uusap niya. We will be kami na ni attorney. So thank you very much, Nasar. Have a nice evening. Whatever is left of it, and God bless. Keep safe always, and give our regards to the family. Maraming salamat. It means thank you very much. Ayan, ladies and gentlemen, we had Nasar Ali. Thank you very much. And he enlightened us on the property side of things. No, so they will do everything for you. They're not here to what do you call this? If it would mean, it's not for the money. It's more of your benefits, your best interest. If there's something wrong with the property, tama ba attorney, you will tell, like Nasar will tell him, don't buy this, there's a problem with this. You might eventually end up sick if you carry on with this property.
That's the job, that's the duty. Yun yung trabaho namin, yun ang kailangan namin i-deliver. The delivery is to give you the informed decision on whether this is the right choice for you, and whether this is going to be a worthwhile exercise as well, and to give you your options, most importantly. And he was genuine, Mr. Laragan.
Yes, very genuine.
Straight away, he did. He was very excited, and it shows today, that this is a proper professional. This is someone who takes pride in the quality of his work, in the quality of the service that he gives, whether or not ito man in professional service or in his public service. And that's someone that you get pleasure in dealing with as a colleague, as a professional. Kung siya yung abogado mo, he gets absolutely fantastic reviews from his clients. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of that ethos na yun lang, sasabihin niya talaga, it's not going to be worth it. If it's not going to be worth it, it's not going to be worth it. We're not going to be shy about that. Kahit mawalan pa kami ng, kasi hindi matatapos yung trabaho, so hindi mo makukuha yung full fees mo. But that is the right thing to say, and that is the right thing to say. So, I hope it shows kung ano yung number one na priority.
He comes across very credible. Parang nice fellow na he would not have one on you, parang something like that. He would really work for your best interest. He will fight for whatever your interests are. And that's the reason why he's also in his political life, no? He fights for the rights of people. Because that's what he is. So there, you can already discern and say that, hey, this guy is really for, he really wants the good of people, because, Diba? So if he does that for the community, then he does that for his work. Meaning, he will look after the interest of the client. So maraming salamat. You contact, ladies and gentlemen, ito, mga kaibigan, if siyempre you will be buying properties, no? Deo Volente, no? Madali namang i-contact yan. Andiyan naman si Attorney Dana is with us, no? She's a Filipina and she's the managing partner, and that makes us proud, no? And ayan, and si sabi niya in a second he said yes right away when you invited him. So thanks a lot, Nasar, no?
He was absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
Talagang totoo po yan. So maraming salamat Nasser. Now was greeting him Eid Mubarak sa kanya, sa lahat ng family. So family niya and sa lahat ng Muslim brothers and sisters natin who's celebrating today and tomorrow.
There's an Alan Ed, sir. Somebody just mentioned a great show. Hello all. Thanks for the great show. Ayan.
Thank you, Alan. Maraming salamat.
Alan Ed. Iba yan. Alan Ed to, ha? We don't know him. I don't know this person. We're just the same. We're saying hello to Alan Ed. Okay, well, Attorney, naku, ang galing, ha? So, thank you very much also to you because you've brought along a very nice fellow, a very professional fellow, and he's been working. He's been a lawyer for the past 20 years. 2000 when he graduated, 2005 when he that word qualified, no? And from then on, he has been doing just like you don't say an expert pilot, you say an experienced pilot because of the number of hours a pilot has flown, so they became expert pilots or experienced pilots. So here in the person of the person of our very good friend Nasar, you've got an expert, no, and an experienced property specialist, no. So yeah, lawyer, that is. Okay, Attorney, baka you might have some messages or anything. We're saying goodbye now to all our viewers. Sige, bahala ka na kung anong gusto mo sabihin at bakit babati ka pa. Go ahead, please.
Na-remind na natin sila ng contact details natin if it's gonna appear somewhere there at some point. Anyways, it is b.quinto@bbsolicitors.com. If you have any questions sa akin man directly or Nasser for any property concerns or any property law related questions, you can email me and then we can direct it to Nasser as well. The phone number is 0123-422-5188. So kaya ko mag-translate if ever may sasabihin paki-explain naman, or kung gusto mong may mas komportable kayo na sabihin sa Filipino, it's fine, it's all okay. But as you have seen earlier, yung puso andon. Yung puso. Parang pusong Pinoy Pusong Pinoy rin na gustong makatulong sa kapwa at gustong makagawa ng tamang trabaho. So, maraming salamat, Mr. Laragan, for allowing us to bring a co-host tonight. And for everyone who's been absolutely fantastic and supportive of the program. Gaganda ng mga questions. Salamat sa mga comments. Salamat for participating. And for always tuning in, nasa holiday man kayo or nasa bahay, andyan pa rin. So maraming salamat. Happy Tuesday, everyone, once again, and may everyone have a lovely evening.
Ayan, well, maraming salamat to. We've come to the end of the program, and it's been a wonderful and interesting night, no? Educational, that is. And we met a new friend in the person of Nasar, no? Diba? Aside from the expertise that he shared with us, we also now knew a friend. So in future, if, luckily, God bless, he makes it to Parliament, then at least you can say that at one time of your lives, you've watched this program and saw that guy who is now the MP of Birmingham. Who knows? God, we'll never know. But with his kind of a demeanor, intelligence, and his, he doesn't cut corners. He's the right person. Talagang maayos. So, Sir. So, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Hope you had a great Tuesday evening. Like we always say, happy Tuesday. So on behalf of Attorney Dana Quinto, our regular Tuesday co-host, and on behalf of a very special guest, head of property, property department, yes, of DV Solicitors, that's Nasar Ali. This is Sonny here. Thank you very much for being with us, and hope you take care. God bless, and keep safe and well always. No. Right. So, well, always. So, bye-bye. Take care. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Bangon na niluluto mo ah. Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you. So you can be there for them.